this, make sure everything's working. Yes, we're recording, and we're also sending. Make sure that dashboard's working. All right, go live notifications. Let's look at that later. Okay, cool. So that's that. Let me go ahead and ping off in my own Discord about the show. Twitch announcements, TMM-live. There we are. Let's see. I think that's everything. There's never usually any pre-roll. You know, I should insert some like pre-roll like music or something sometime. Let me unlock the device that plays the outro song as well. And I think we're ready. Hopefully. I don't know. I never feel ready, but let's go ahead and give it a shot, eh?
YOLO.
YOLO. Hello everybody, welcome to the Morning Metro. It is May 9th, 2019. We, of course, are your co-hosts, and actually, I'd like to welcome especially Cappy, who is our new co-host. Hello, Cappy. Welcome to the show. We're very here. Here's some applause. Oh shoot, that's getting drowned out again. Here we go. Some applause for Cappy as he's our new co-host for the Morning Metro, and he was very, very excited to be part of the show and stuff. And we're happy to have him as a new host and everything. But yeah, we're here. Sorry for the bit of a late. We haven't had any episodes for a while actually. One mainly because of scheduling, and I also sleep in the morning as well. Lols. But we're here. We got a nicely packed show. But Cappy, how are you this morning?
Waking up still, but so far so good.
Honestly, kind of the same. Yeah, I'm not much of a morning person, which is funny because I record a show in the morning. Yeah, but I guess we'll go ahead and jump into it. I kind of have to be slightly quiet because my parents are still asleep. They're not awake. We're going to jump into our first article, which is those of you that play the game Overwatch. Overwatch has a workshop now, apparently. You can create custom games, I guess like custom game modes using tools that the game provides you. So you can create custom rule sets. You can, I guess, do things on, do stuff on different maps and everything. This comes from playoverwatch.com, of course. So explains you can add different events, conditions, actions. It's kind of like, in a way, how I guess in Fortnite, how you can make your own custom game modes. Now Overwatch is getting in on making the custom game modes, and it's almost like when I was watching the developer diaries about this, and they were talking about the different like game modes and stuff like that. And when he first said, I can't remember. I know his first name is Jeff. I can't remember what his last name is, but when he was talking about workshop, I immediately thought of the Steam Workshop when he said it. Because that's kind of where we're used to seeing a lot of things, put is the Steam Workshop and stuff. But I didn't realize that their idea of workshop is not actually different game modes. It's actually it's actually creating your own thing within the Overwatch environment. Cappy, what do you think of the idea of Overwatch having its own game mode or game mode creation?
I think it's pretty awesome. It actually released, I think, a few patches ago, but I definitely been messing around with it, and I absolutely love it. It's really fun to play around with, and just seeing what you can do.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely add some really fun, different takes on stuff that we're used to, and also too apparently. If I'm understanding this correctly, you can actually publish the workshop mode, and then you get assigned a special code that anybody that's on Xbox or PC can actually play the custom game mode, which is again really cool. It kind of makes Overwatch like less exclusive as well, as far as like the different maps and stuff that you can create. So if I made something on PC, I could then give it to, say, somebody that's on like Xbox. I don't know if it works on PS4. It might. I don't see why it wouldn't. But it comes with like debugging stuff and everything. Now the only thing that I feel like would be kind of like difficult a little bit is that like the coding would be slightly I don't know. I guess if it's the same game, I guess it doesn't really matter what platform it's on, because my thought about the idea of it, like giving the game mode to like somebody on console, like what are the chances of them like accidentally running into a bug, and then the person developed on PC, they handed it to the person on Xbox? Could there be any like compatibility issues? What do you think?
I don't think so, because the reason why is that with a few patches ago, Xbox is basically a Windows-based machine, and it really doesn't matter if they're on Xbox or Windows, because already Windows can be cross-platform played.
True.
With other games like Gears of War 4.
That's a good point.
Forza and other
Rocket League.
Like that, so
Rocket League is also sort of a similar one now too, because it's got crossplay. Yeah. I mean, it's not now. Granted, it's different. It's not like saying, because I just remembered there is the Xbox app on Windows 10. I did just remember that, and I keep forgetting that's there because I don't use it all the time. And good morning, Stan. Also anybody in the chat that's just walking in, good morning. Hope you guys are well. Welcome to the show. But yeah, so I don't know. That's kind of cool to see Overwatch kind of get something fresh and sort of new, and maybe, you know, hopefully the player base is still in existence. I know that there's been some kind of rocky points with Overwatch here and there and stuff. I still enjoy it when I'm having a good day playing Overwatch, but definitely very cool, and I look forward to seeing how this develops out. But we got a little bit more game news, and we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next one, which is actually coming from Cappy. And while I look for the tab for that, I just found it. Go ahead and take this article, if you would, Cappy, please.
So pretty much those who play Ghost Recon or any Ghost Recon games are familiar with Ghost Recon Wildlands. However, there's a new Ghost Recon coming out within the year called Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Pretty much it's set in the future where you're playing as I believe, what's his name? Drawing a blank here. As the main character in Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Okay.
Pretty much there was an update called Ghost Recon Wildlands Operation Oracle, which introduced John Berthenol as Wolf, or Ghost Cole D. Walker. And
that's not hard to remember.
And pretty much the mission is to go around and rescue a certain character in the game.
All right.
However, it's been shown that John Berthenol is actually going to be the villain in Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Interesting.
Definitely looks like a really fun game. I'm definitely going to get it. I've been playing Ghost Recon Wildlands for the past few days now, just revisiting it, just seeing what they've added in the past few patches and stuff like that. So I'm super excited for it. One of my games I'm looking forward to this year besides Borderlands 3. So
didn't Borderlands 3 just drop? Like, wasn't everybody playing that, or was everybody playing Borderlands 2?
I
feel like I thought I saw
Borderlands 3 has been released yet, but
I feel like I saw it already. I don't know, but that's cool. Like, you know, I mean, I'm not much of a Tom Clancy player. The only Tom Clancy game I've ever played is Rainbow Six Siege, which is actually pretty decent. I'm very bad at the game, but it's pretty interesting. I don't have a lot to say on it because I'm not like familiar with the whole like. I know that Tom Clancy is very popular for a lot of his games, a lot of his books, and I know that Ubisoft has been, you know, I think most time the developer for it. It looks like we've got I think, let's see, let me take a look at this. Is this a trailer? Oh no, it's not oh, I thought it was going to be like some kind of, let's see, this is the official trailer. I guess we could try playing this and see how that.
Might have language.
I may have language. Okay, let's skip it then. In that case, won't worry about it. Yeah. But yeah, cool. More game news. Something to look forward to. Which actually do you think that there might be some more information dropped at E3? Do you think?
Possibly. Not much has been revealed. They did show some gameplay and hands-on action, but not much was revealed. There is going to be survival aspects in this game compared to Wildlands, and it's supposed to be a lot bigger than Wildlands too, supposedly. But I'm really excited. I'm a huge fan of John Berthenol, mainly because of his Punisher character that he did for Netflix's The Punisher.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with any of his work, honestly. So that's probably why I'm not too sure about what to say about it. But yeah, okay, that's cool. Oh, I thought of something and I forgot what it was. Regarding this game. Well, riff, if I think of it again, I guess I'll ask. But since I did briefly drop E3 and E3 stuff, let's talk about some E3 things. So this comes from techradar.com. Everything we expect to see at the Electronics Entertainment Expo this year. And apparently Sony is not going to show up, which is kind of interesting. And a little surprising, actually. Okay, so I didn't write show notes for this. Wow, I am such a smart person. Well, probably because I was thinking of just like skimming through some of it. So I'll go ahead and read some of this here. No matter how it changes over the years, E3 is still the biggest event in gaming, whether it's held at a hotel, convention center, or somewhere out in Hollywood. It's a definite industry event of the year where gamers from around the world get together to see what comes next for consoles, handhelds, PCs, mobile phones, and everything in between. Let's see. That being said, while E3 has a heritage of the world's most illustration. Wow, I cannot speak today. Yikes. Well, basically, let's see. It's again a big gaming convention. This year's show will be a bit different. EA announced recently that it won't hold a traditional press conference and would opt out instead to host several smaller live stream events, while Sony says it won't be attending the conference at all. I wonder why Sony isn't attending. What would be the reason for Sony not attending, do you think?
I'm totally not 100% sure on that one. They didn't attend the past 2 years, I believe.
They were there last year, though, weren't they?
I don't recall.
I feel like I saw some stuff from CN says in chat because Sony is garbage. Wow. So let me go ahead and kind of scroll through some of this. So I won't be attending conference at all. Let me go ahead and go through some of the things that would I think I was going to pick out different things that looked interesting. So EA will probably be there. Keynote time. EA Play won't have a keynote this year, but ticketed fans are welcome to join EA Play at the Hollywood Paladum on Saturday, June 8th and Sunday, June 9th. EA has a early lead going into 2019 with its plans already detailed on the publisher's website. To that end, EA says it will be hosting its annual EA Play event from Friday, June 7th to Sunday, June 9th, with free tickets to be distributed shortly. Ooh, free tickets, nice. According to the press conference, from EA on which games it'll be showing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which I'm kind of... Anytime you see EA and Star Wars in the same sentence, I kind of cringe. Now, granted, it is going to be from Respawn Entertainment, so they're going to be there. It's more likely than... more than likely we'll hear about some traditional to Titanfall universe, either a second spin-off title or Titanfall 3, as well as its plans to expand the successful Battle Royale shooter Apex Legends. Elsewhere inside EA's event, we'll see announcements for the next version of Madden, FIFA, NHL, and NBA Live franchises. I feel like those have been going on for forever, honestly.
They have been.
How old is FIFA up to this point?
I believe we're on our 30th rendition, if I recall correctly.
Why? Yeah. Give it up,
hey,
you know?
If it sells, they're going to make them.
True. Another expansion for Sims 4 that might continue strange Strangeville's story-first approach. Less likely, but still possible, are new games from EA's DICE Studio, the developers behind Battlefield and Star Wars Battlefront games, who have yet to announce a project for 2019, as well as projects from PopCap, famous for Plants vs. Zombies, which I think is a mobile game, actually, and Ghost Games, the new skate holders of Need for Speed franchise. Last but not least, BioWare debuted a teaser for Dragon Age 4. It lasts the Game Awards, and we expect to hear anything, that is an awkward sentence, about its development at EA's event. So, I mean, if you want to, Cappy, feel free to scroll through some of this, too, because this is quite a large document to cover. But
yeah, I'm scrolling through it right now just to see if there's anything interesting.
So, as far as EA goes, how do you think it'll be received, or what do you... It mentioned Titanfall 3, which a lot of people were upset when they saw... Now, Apex is a great game. Like, I love Apex. I think I'm really good at it. But we got Apex Legends instead of another Titanfall 3, so it's like... It's kind of like they're backtracking a little bit. They went from doing Apex, now going to do another Titanfall game. And haven't you played Titanfall? I think
I played Titanfall and Titanfall 2. I absolutely love both games, but I really love Titanfall 2 because of the single player campaign, which dives deeper into the lore behind the Titanfall universe.
Got you.
And honestly, I love Apex Legends. I love playing it.
Me too.
It's a really fun game. Compared to like other battle royale shooters.
Fortnite. Sorry, what?
Fortnite. Yeah, definitely Fortnite.
It looks like Microsoft will also be at the event, as well as Bethesda. So I'm going to kind of... Do you want to take the bit with Microsoft, and I'll check out some stuff check out the section on Bethesda here?
Yeah, I'll take Microsoft if I can find it.
If you can find it. There's this great little scroll thing.
It.
Yeah, cool. Go ahead.
So right now, Microsoft is the only one of 3 big console makers that are definitely going to be at E3 2019.
CN. Go ahead, though.
They might decide their next gen Xbox, codename Project Scarlet, and it might be the reason why Sony is avoiding the show altogether.
Could be.
However, nothing has been officially announced, nothing has been officially confirmed or anything like that, except for one thing. The new Xbox One S All Digital Edition. Pretty much no disk drive, nothing to that nature.
Rip the disk drive.
Hopefully you have a good internet connection.
Right. I also see that they're going to be doing some demos of Microsoft HoloLens 2 in a similar setup to a few years ago. Oh yeah, I remember when they were trying to do the they did the first HoloLens, and it was of Minecraft or something like that, which actually looked really... I'm gonna be honest, it did look really good. Like, I kind of like the whole like augmented reality thing with them.
I actually got to get a hands-on trial with HoloLens, and I absolutely enjoy it. It's very interesting technology, but the problem is that the headset itself is kind of bulky, and I think they need to slim it down a little bit.
Yeah.
I could see it working like how Google Glass had.
Google Glass, yes.
Like you could slide it over your own glasses, and other things like that. I would love to see something like that, maybe.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting to see how that would look, actually.
As for Microsoft, they more than likely they're going to show new footage of Gears of War 5 and Halo Infinite and a new Forza title, obviously.
As I seem to also recall regarding Halo, I think, wasn't there supposed to be some like special edition of like Halo that was supposed to be on Steam, I thought, or something? Like there was a lot of
Halo Master Chief Edition.
Has that actually dropped yet? I
don't think it has, but let me check here.
While you look that up, I'm going to go ahead and read some things from Bethesda. Regardless of Sony's plans, we now know that Bethesda will be holding a showcase at E3 2019, close in time to last year's event. To that end, you can expect to hear more about developer publishers titles starting on Sunday, June 9th. So what can we expect to see? They're expecting to hear updates for the legacy title, The Elder Scrolls Online, and Fallout 76, which, as we all know, was a total flop.
Yeah.
That was a huge, excuse me for saying, a real hot mess, honestly. Because for those of you who don't know what happened and are listening to the show via audio or something like that, Fallout 76 had a very large fallout, yeah, of hype, because during E3 last year, I can't think of his name. I think it's I can't think of it. I know his first name is Todd something or other. He was on stage giving the presentation for Fallout 76, and there was all this hype build up, and there was Fallout 76 was supposed to be an open world, and a real-time game with changing events and stuff. And then the game dropped, and it had bug issues, server issues. Half of the content supposed to be there was not there. They end up having to do some huge 60 whatever gigabyte patch update, and Fallout 76 has not gotten a lot of it's not been good at all. So they're gonna have to really do something this year to make it worthwhile and interesting again. Because it's a really huge embarrassment for them as a company for that game to get all the hype that it did. And it's kind of in a way, Bethesda's supposed to sort of be I guess the hero of the gaming industry in a way. And they usually have made, good games such as, Fallouts 1 through, I guess Fallout 1 through 4. I don't know if I know I have at least one Fallout. I have Fallout 3, which I've yet to actually properly stream all the way through. And they're going to be talking about some stuff for the game Doom Eternal.
I'm so excited.
And they're also going to be talking about Elder Scrolls 5 as well as Starfield. Ambitious project for, what is Starfield? I don't know if I'm familiar with this particular one.
Yeah, I don't remember what Starfield is either.
Let's go take a quick side article look here. Starfield is going to be a huge for Bethesda. It's the gaming giant's first new IP in 25 years, and will be a single-player game that marks the start of an all-new epic franchise. But just what is the game about, and more importantly, when will we be able to play it? Bethesda's E3 2018 conference had plenty in store for fans of its much-loved franchise. We got a reveal of Doom's sequel and confirmation of the Elder Scrolls 6 is officially in development, finally. One of the most shocking announcements, however, was for an entirely new IP named Starfield. What Bethesda director Todd Howard, that's what his name is, Todd Howard, called our next generation single player epic. That's an interesting way to call it. Starfield will be a brand new single player RPG from the developer behind Fallout and Elder Scrolls games. Instead of a medieval fantasy or post-apocalyptic wasteland of its other tentpole franchise. However, this new game will be taking players to outer space. Cut to the chase. I like this. Space! Spaceship! I don't have a soundbite for it, but space! It reminds me of that scene in the Lego movie. Spaceship! Spaceship! What is it? A single player RPG in outer space from the makers. Okay, yes, we know that. What can I play on it? It's almost certainly gaming coming to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, but we might have to wait for the next generation of consoles. Well, no word when we'll be able to play it. Looking till later to 2020 for the release of it. Yikes, it's a little too long. So it's some kind of basically single player outer space game. Maybe something like No Man's Sky ? I don't know.
Hopefully it's not Mass Effect.
I never played Mass Effect, actually.
Oh, skip 3.
Oh gosh. This is something I'm excited for. Ubisoft will be at E3, and I'm a little bit particularly excited because, if I may tell a small side story, last year during E3 2018, Ubisoft partnered with a website called hitrecord.org to have user contributed art, sound, music, and some scripting for the game Beyond Good and Evil 2. And I was really excited about this because I wanted to finally have my chance to break into the gaming industry, because I would like to do some sound design for gaming, or maybe composing for video games and stuff. Unfortunately, none of my pieces actually got into the game, but they did get some small attention from the people that were developing the game. And I'm really excited for this game in particular because it's one of the first games I've heard of where the fan base is actually contributing to a large-scale AAA title game. So I'm excited to see what Beyond Good and Evil 2 is going to hold when they when they talk about it at E3 2019. So I'm very stoked for this.
I'm actually really excited too, because really this is the first title to have like crowdsourcing material.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really interesting on how they handle that.
Yeah, definitely. I know that unfortunately though, I think the project for the game is starting to wind down. So user contributed stuff is not like, I don't know if they're really accepting any more content. However, one speculation I kind of have with it is that if they're gonna announce more about it, it's possible maybe they'll release another set of projects on the website to contribute.
I hope they do, because to me it sounds really fun, and just being able to say, hey, I helped create that game.
I know, right? Like that's one of the joys of like that's one of the things that got me so excited, because they're like, we're partnering with hitrecord.org. I was like, oh, PogChamp. Major PogChamp. So yeah, I'm really I'm very, very excited to see how this is gonna look. I can't wait to see what the results are gonna be for all this. They're also gonna be announcing a game called Skull and Bones, which I'm not familiar with. I'm not sure if that's a new franchise or one that I just never heard of. They'll also be talking about stuff from Assassin's Creed, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, the ship-focused combat game that looks carry the torch. Okay. So I'm sorry. I need to get some context here. So Skull and Bones is a ship-focused combat game that looks to carry the torch from Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which I have Black Flag. I never actually tried playing it, but if this is the game I'm thinking of, then yes, this one also looked really fun. It kind of looked like a Pirates of the Caribbean inspired type of game, which honestly we really haven't had a similar game inspired by that in a very long time. I know that the original Pirates of the Caribbean Online is actually going through a remake through some developers and stuff, which actually just made my kid heart so happy, because I spent hours and hours and hours. I sunk hours into that game as a kid, and I was really happy for that. And so to have another battleship type of pirate ship sort of feel makes me as equally as excited. And I love tactical ship games, like World of Warships, for example, is a really, really good one. I just realized something. I've never seen Wargaming at an E3 event. I just realized this.
Yeah.
I've never seen Wargaming at an E3 event, and I'm very much surprised, unless E3 only covers games in North America, because Wargaming is Russian.
Probably.
I'm sorry. I just realized that, and my brain just kind of broke for a split second. Let's see here. I also just realized something. I need to share screens with Cappy so that he knows what article I'm currently looking at. That would help.
I got it. I've been keeping up.
Okay, I know. It's just something I just realized I would do with our former co-host. So, and of course, there's going to be PC gaming event as well, which you can watch some of the events at twitch.tv/PC Gamer, or on Facebook or on YouTube. I'm not really sure what to expect for PC gaming. I don't really think there's anything to get too excited about, question mark. What do you think, Cappy, for PC gaming event?
Pretty much the PC gaming event is for indie developers who normally wouldn't get that time on the main stage, like for alongside hardware companies and other things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of excited to see what happens with that.
I am as well. Yeah.
There have been numerous gems that have been shown off on that stage.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like Super Meat Boy 2, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be interesting to see what is going to be announced indie-wise.
Yeah. I noticed here, in reading and skimming a little bit of this article here, they're going to be talking about, in this section here in particular, at last year's event, we got a chance to see a number of new indie games like Neo Cab from Manster. I think it's how you say that. I'm not sure. As well as some heavy-hitting titles like Stormlands from Insomniac and Warframe. The Sacrifice from Digital Extremes. We're expecting some similar big announcements from this year's show. So hopefully some really good stuff. And actually, it was funny. Last year when I was watching E3 event, do I even have this? I made like a whole, I think it's on a different hard drive, but I made like a whole list of games that I wanted to like check out and play and stuff. And so I think it's like somewhere in my text docs on my computer, but I suspect I'll probably like have another. Oh yeah, here we go. I had a whole list. Oh wow, I actually just found it. I had an entire list. So there was Just Cause 4. There was Shadow Tomb Raider, which I did get. I never got to play Just Cause 4. I still want to try it. There was Soul Calibur, which I was really excited for. There was Unravel 2, Anthem, Outer Lands, Elder Scrolls Legends, which I never ended up checking out, Starfield, For Honor, Marching Fire, which looked interesting, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, never got to try that one, Super Smash Ultimate, which I did get, Sea of Thieves, Where Cards Fall, Semblance, and The Endless Mission. I actually need to go look up some of these games, see if they're actually all released yet or not. And I think someone here is Beyond Good and Evil 2 as well, as I recall. But yeah, so for me, a large group of games. The Crew 2, I played the demo for it. That was very disappointing, actually.
Oh, I've been playing the Crew 2, and it's really fun. The demo was the tip of.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Your internet was slightly dropping, and I cut out my screen share there, so I should be able to. We went slightly robotic there.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all good. The only reason why I was disappointed with the Crew 2 was that I was expecting it to be a next chapter installment of the Crew 1, because I played the first Crew game and I really loved the story for it, actually. And then when the Crew 2 came out, it like completely shifted gears. A pun intended. So I was really disappointed, honestly, when it finally got dropped. But that's just me.
To me, the Crew felt like just another Need for Speed ripoff.
Yeah.
And I felt like they should have went a different direction, personally, compared to just like going with the storyline or something like that. I like the fact that you're a starting extreme sports person, and you can go into like any different types of disciplines that you want to play as, which I enjoy, except for the playing, because I get motion sick, and I'm tired of getting motion sick in that game. But
oof. And of course there's Forza Horizon 4, which I still want to pick up. That looked really, really good. That looked very, very, very polished.
I actually want to get that game too. Like, I heard many good things about it.
I
So,
think, as I recall, my friend CN was really into it actually, and he said it was really quite good as well. Um, And of course, some other game news from Nintendo, because why wouldn't they be there? Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion, Super Smash Ultimate DLC character pack, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Link's Awakening remake. Ooh, Link's Awakening remake. That should be fun. Mario Maker 2, which was another one that I heard about from some of my viewers on Twitch. And of course, Dear Revolver Digital, I've never liked their titles. Their presentations are like, I've tried to watch their presentations at E3 and it just makes me sick, and I actually really don't appreciate their stage presence because it's just weird and odd, and like, I mean, like they've done presentations in such a way where I get what they're trying to do, but it was just in very poor taste. I'm gonna be really honest. It just made me sick to just like to watch that. So anyway, so that's some of the things we're expecting from E3, and I'm super excited. And I think we can go ahead and sort of move on along to some things. Let's see what we got here in the list of stuff. Okay, the E3 thing was mine. So let's go ahead and go look at Samsung thinks that millennials want vertical TVs. Yeah? Can you can we talk about this?
so pretty much Samsung announced Zero, which is a vertical transforming TV.
What?
Or orientation transforms it into a vertical orientation or portrait mode for those who use computers.
I'm sorry, one moment, please. What? Go on, I'm sorry.
Pretty much it's designed for millennials in mind, those who have high consumption of social media. Lets you watch Instagram, Snap, and other smartphone videos in their native vertical configuration.
I'm already having question marks appear above my head that are going like, okay. There's none of vertical. Yes, Snapchat. Yes, Instagram. But like, that's what I have a phone for. I'm sorry. Go on. Just continue reading. This is sad.
Pretty much, it's a 43-inch quantum dot QLED TV with that gimmick.
Okay.
It's in the same family as Samsung's artsy Serif and Frame QLED TVs. And pretty much you can pair it over your phone on your phone by pairing it over NFC. In horizontal mode, it works just as a regular TV, delivering 4.1 channel 60-watt surround sound.
I mean, that's some nice specs, but like a vertical I can see this. Go ahead.
It's also best friend Bixby controlled too, as well.
That's fantastic. For those of you who don't know, Bixby is a virtual assistant. I'm sorry, but I think this is stupid. So I look at this. Okay, now the only thing I can see this be good for is if you're at a convention. And if a presenter wants to like have like banners that like change and they're like vertical like banners that like display different things, that's where I could see this being useful. But who's gonna sit there like, scrolling, through? What are they gonna use hand gestures? Or are we gonna are we gonna like touch our TV now? Like, how do you scroll? What is it just gonna like constantly scroll through your Instagram? Like, what if it shows up something you don't want it to see? Like, what if, what if it doesn't have a camera? It's not, Snapchat, it's not like if you're going to use it for Snapchat and had a camera or whatever, like, no one's gonna, I don't see this being really useful. This just looks like it's just taking up space.
So pretty much it's going to be phone controlled, like you have another remote, and it's just going to cast to that television.
Why?
A lot of TVs have that built-in capability already, but the problem is the vertical resolution or native resolution for smartphones is vertical orientation.
Okay.
So it's going to be kind of harder for companies to come out with a TV like that unless you have it specifically mounted to that need.
Well,
Uh, wh-
my question is, can you like rotate the TV if you want to watch like a movie on it? Like you
yeah,
can't tell me.
yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say you can't tell me this is just for social media because that would be very sad.
It it also looks like that this television is actually going to have a touchscreen as well, making it usable for presentations, brainstorming, and other business chores.
Okay, now that I could
Um,
see it being useful for. Yes, that
yeah,
I could see that being because you could have like a nice little like pie chart or some kind of like PowerPoint presentation or something. Like I could see it. That's where I could see this being useful. And like I said, at conventions and maybe corporate, like imagine like a corporate America business, guests walk into the complex and they have a little information about the company that like changes and shows like different stats. Like I can see TV being useful for that, but social media, just even though you can rotate it, casting your social media, like what, is your phone not big enough now? Like I'm literally waiting for people to just walk around with like 41, however big this TV 49-inch. Imagine just walking down the street with a 49-inch TV and be like, sorry, just scrolling through my social media. Oh, I'm trying to get into this bus here. Oh, so let me just scroll through this. Like
yeah.
What?
No, I agree with that because
Oh gosh, all right.
I feel like that's how we're going, especially with like foldable phones.
Foldable phones, lol.
That's just the whole entire another ball game, in my personal opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Especially looking at the Samsung Galaxy Fold, with how they had to like recall
there's been
the
a
release
lot
date.
there's been a lot of issues with that particular product as a whole. Foldable displays in general, I mean the military okay, let's back up for a sec. A lot of the technologies that we have, and this is just kind of a reminder, a lot of the technologies that we have originally started as military only stuff. Like the military has had foldable displays quite literally for years for the soldiers on the field. We're just now getting, either by the government selling their technologies, or companies actually developing the technology on their own. We've had foldable displays quite literally for years. It's just new to us because it's now just hitting the consumer end of things and stuff. So, but apparently Samsung's implementation of a foldable display is not as durable as what a soldier on the field gets, because it'd be too far expensive for us to buy the military grade version of what would be of the consumer version that we're buying, essentially. So anyway, yeah, just a small side note to that.
I mean, it's definitely an interesting idea, this Zero. They also announced during their event that its serif and TV frames will be available as well, and larger 49 and 55-inch sizes this year, with the 65-inch frame TV coming soon as well.
Interesting.
Pretty much the serif is just like a art stand style TV.
I could see this for people who wanted to do large canvas painting.
Yeah, definitely. I agree too. And then the TV frame is, I think, more for people who want multiple use for their televisions. Like, say, for example, you have company over or friends and family getting together for like a family reunion, but you have like a very generic looking TV.
And you want to do like a family slideshow type thing.
Yeah, and you want it in like a picture frame.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
I could see that, and people who like the Art Deco style. I really think that's a pretty cool idea. But the Zero, I just don't know where this fits in a living room. Like, I honestly
that's
don't.
the other thing too. You got to have the space for it. You got to have like a really, like, my house is not big by any means. Like it's a rather small I mean, it's a small house, and we've got a friend of ours gave us recently a new TV that we just now got a TV that had HDMI actually, and that's the first ever HDMI enabled television we've ever had. It's really great, but yeah, no, for people that have small homes, this is not practical unless you've got like some very large basement and you wanted to do like, you know, digital canvas, like large scale canvas, almost like, you know, full, you know, person to scale art stuff, or, you know, family reunions, or if you're an artist and you wanted to do like a presentation of your artwork from your home, or if it was, you know, for a corporate, you know, like as I said earlier, like a corporate company, for statistics, PowerPoint, presentations, or if you walked into the welcome center of a business, whether corporate or small business or whatever, like that's where I can see this being. So it does actually have its useful now that I think about it. It's just that at first glance, it's just kind of like you kind of scratch your head going like, excuse me. But yeah, no. I mean, that's. You know what? I can see that. Yeah, I can definitely see that being having a use case now.
I feel that this should have been targeted more towards like the business and
yes,
corporate rather than like in-home use.
Yes, I actually do agree with that. Yeah, I could see that being I could see where that would actually make a lot more sense for companies for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, okay, cool. You know, we'll see. I'm sure Linus Tech or somebody's going to have a review about it, and I'm very interested to know, you know, how it works, how it responds, and yeah. But moving down the article train, let me go see what I got here. If this is from, okay, this is the one from. I gotta make sure I'm pulling up my links properly because we didn't actually put things in. Okay, yeah. So this is talking about, so we've got two stories about Microsoft. Cappy and I both each have one, and we're going to kind of, I think, sort of put them together a little bit, sort of one after the other here. So, let me hit my scene switch here. Microsoft is going to be bringing the Linux kernel to Windows. Now, for anybody who I don't know how many techies we have listens to our show, but really quick, a kernel is basically just how the hardware, and Cappy, correct me if I'm wrong, it's how the hardware and software talk to each other. Essentially, it's like the core stuff that makes it like go and do what it's supposed to do, for in layman terms. And for the longest time, usually, if you wanted to play with Linux, you would have to install a third-party software such as VirtualBox, VM Player, and many other virtualization softwares to virtualize a computer that technically doesn't exist in a Windows environment. Well, Microsoft has decided that that will be no more, and they're attempting to integrate the Linux kernel into Windows, and I think there was a core thing here. But I'll go ahead and read the first little bits of this article here. So this comes from Wired.com, and reads the following: for decades, Microsoft Windows and the open source Linux operating system were polar opposites. Windows was developed by the biggest software company in the world, one that was no friend to open source. Linux was developed by a ragtag team of programmers scattered from around the world, often working in their spare time. But over the years, open source and Linux in particular went mainstream. Linux now powers a majority of the world's web servers and underpins Android, the world's most popular mobile operating system. That forced a change in how Microsoft treated the rival operating system. First, it began with supporting Linux in its own, I love this. This is so funny. Its cloud service, Azure. Okay, now first of all, this is funny to me because there is Windows Server, okay? And there's been Windows, and I've used Windows Server 2008, and now using Windows Server 2012, which is basically a upgraded version of Windows 8 itself, like literally that start menu UI thing. Yeah, that's what Windows.
I've used Windows Server 2012.
Yeah, I hate it. It's absolutely annoying. Then it began releasing software for Android and Linux, and even using Linux internally to power Azure. Now Microsoft is bringing the heart of Linux into Windows. Thanks to a feature called Windows Subsystem for Linux, you can already run Linux applications in Windows. WSL essentially translates a commands meant for Linux kernel, the core part of the operating system that talks to hardware, into commands for the Windows kernel. But now Microsoft will build the Linux kernel into WSL, starting with a new version of the software set for a preview release in June. To be clear, Microsoft is not replacing the Windows kernel, which I really think they should, honestly, because the fact that like we still use like a registry and a couple other like subsystems for like Windows as a whole, even though it has a flashy UI, to me is still pretty like dated. I mean, now granted, I have to kind of veer off for a second here. I sent a tweet out on my Twitter, and I was basically having an issue with the fact that there's a lot of legacy code in Windows. Okay, and there's two versions. Well, there's several versions of Windows 10. But the more popular ones or well-known ones are Windows 10 Home and Windows 10 Pro, and I use the Pro version because the feature set's better. But one of the things that's always driven me nuts is the fact that Windows 10 has a lot of legacy code that's pulled off from 95, 98, XP, etc. And it's kind of bugged me that it has a lot of this stuff. And I kind of went on Twitter. I was like, look, there should be two versions of Windows. There should be one that's Windows 10 Legacy and Windows 10 Creator. You know, those were my ideas for naming it. And then I got a series of tweets back from someone that said that a lot of the game controllers use legacy inputs to interface with the hardware. But I feel like what they kind of missed was, yes, I get that, but if you're going to make a Windows 10 Creator, aka also gamer version of it, you could still just include the parts that make controllers work. But everything else, like there's a lot of services in Windows that no one is ever going to use. Like there's a lot of services in Windows that I'm just not going to use, and they're there for whatever reason. So that's kind of my gripe with Windows 10. Cabby, feel free to jump in at any time, please. This is just kind of me spewing.
I'm listening right now to what you're saying.
This is just me kind of spewing a little bit. Go ahead if you got something to say on this.
I am going to interrupt here real quick.
Go ahead.
So the reason why we still have some legacy drivers and some legacy commands is because a lot of those legacy commands actually operate the current commands.
Oh.
So really, if you take away the legacy, you might as well just rewrite a whole new operating system and call it Windows 11.
True.
But that's not their plan with Windows 10. They're making it as a service. Like, for example, the Mac OS, with how they just update and stuff like that, rather than just releasing a brand new operating system every 2 to 3 years. And with Windows 10, yes, there are different versions, like Windows 10, Windows 10 Pro, Home, Education Edition, Enterprise Edition.
I forgot there was those other versions.
Windows 10 IoT, Internet of Things, which is just basically a very lightweight version of Windows 10.
Which can run on Raspberry Pi, I might add.
Yes. And there's also, I believe, a 7th one, but I forget the name of it.
There's a lot of Windows, basically, and it lets a lot of breezes in.
And then you have the versions of Windows 10. Right now we have Windows 10 1809, and Windows 10 1903, I believe.
Yes, which that is known as the May update, which has it has its own bugs. Actually, it's kind of comical a little bit. So, go ahead.
As for the WSL Windows subsystem for Linux, I think it's going to be very interesting because the job that I work at, we actually use Linux for some of our stuff. We actually use Windows for some of our stuff. We use Mac for some of our stuff. Jamf, which is another server object for uh, Apple products and other things like that.
Got you.
Um,
Okay.
so what this means is that you're basically getting a Linux underneath Windows, but you'll need Windows 10 Pro to access these features.
Got
These
you.
are actually Windows 10 Pro on up features rather than Windows 10 Home.
Okay. I can see where that would make some sense. Yeah. The It's just, I guess it's just for me in particular because I've always done things through virtual machine. What I'm actually kind of interested to know is because usually if you're gonna run a subsystem like that, does that mean we're gonna have to like enable the virtualization on our hardware if we want to do?
I believe so. Yes. Depending on how this interacts, I'm not sure if this is just the kernel or another operating system. If it's just the kernel, then probably not. You're probably just going to get the command line interface.
Yeah.
Compared to having like a whole brand new Linux system.
Got you.
Or a Linux distro on your system.
So Microsoft's target audience for this is for programmers, essentially, common operating system for running web servers, but Microsoft is still king inside the corporations, making it easy to run Linux code in Windows is a boon for developers who need to use Windows machines to write code that runs on Linux servers. WSL might also help Microsoft win over programmers who use Macintosh. Wow, products. Mac OS is based on Linux, ancestor Unix, and has been long favored among web developers who want to develop environments similar to Linux that also supports commercial applications not available on Linux. But there are differences between Unix and Linux. And this is just a very long technical article about how it works and maybe some possible incompatibilities and things like that. Now, I'm sorry. This is a personal little rant here. I'm so sorry. I have gotten really, really annoyed. I'm so sick of hearing about this. You can do web development on Windows very easily, and you can write in any language that you want: Python, PHP, HTML, C#, C++, like all this stuff. Like you don't need a Mac to develop a website. You can literally just download like XAMPP and just install that and do coding for a website. I don't like this mentality that like Windows is, it's not for creators. You need a high-end, beautiful, gorgeous Mac that we've refined for your, sorry, I'm poking fun at Johnny Ive. I'm sure he's a great dude. I just got to poke fun at him. But like, like you can do all this development stuff on Windows. But I'm gonna have to see how this is gonna be implemented. For me, it kind of breaks my brain to have the Linux kernel integrated with Windows 10. This should be pretty interesting. And also there's some other stuff. Actually, this kind of almost would segue. I guess they're kind of, in a way, two articles that sort of runs together. Microsoft announcing Windows Terminal, new customized command line with tabs and WSL2. Which I guess is what okay. I'm talking about. And can we like put this to put two and two together here?
Yeah. So pretty much, Windows subsystem for Linux 2 and other Windows terminal or Windows commands are going to be integrated into one.
Okay.
You get multiple tabs, so that way, pretty much what you can do is you can switch from WSL to XAML Islands, React Native for Windows, and MSIX Core.
Okay, now I'm not familiar with what is the MSIX core. What is that exactly? I'm not even familiar with that one.
So pretty much it's how Windows 10 interacts with your hardware.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty much a kernel for Windows 10.
Oh, okay. That's fine. All right.
That's pretty much it. There's nothing more to that, but that's it. This version of Windows Terminal, or as I like to call it, Command Line Interface 2,
Yeah.
offers GPU accelerated text rendering, theming support, tabs, tearaway windows, shortcuts, full Unicode support, including East Asian fonts and more. It's scheduled for release in June, which is next month, actually, and it's actually ahead of its current schedule. Surprisingly, this is primarily meant for users of PowerShell command line, WSL, and other command line applications.
So basically, not for us, like, average gamers. Essentially, like, this is just. Yeah, I mean, I might play with it.
This is pretty much if you're a power user of Windows 10.
Got you.
Or if you're in like an IT company or something to that nature.
I could see that.
It's really designed for that.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Something else.
Got you. Huh. Interesting. Well, very fascinating. I'll be interested to see how it gets implemented. I actually don't do. I am so sorry for all the noise outside. It's like I live in a very small neighborhood, so like there's noise all over the place. But anyway, we're gonna move on. The firehouse went off. I was like, oh, lovely. I actually do my web development using Microsoft Visual Code, which has actually been one of my favorite IDEs to mess with recently. But I actually run a small web server off my Raspberry Pi, and then I just access the Pi's local address, and I just do all the coding in Windows and just refresh the page, and it updates on the, using the Samba servers and everything. Like, I'm not using anything that's Linux on Windows. Now, the cool part is if I can run like imagine like Apache or Nginx being installed in Windows 10, and you do all the processing and coding inside that environment, inside Windows, negating needing, like a virtual machine or like, a side, although I still need I technically still need this, because what I have in mind, I still need some way of interfacing with hardware specifically, but still, like, like I could see people who want to just do maybe something custom for, say, I don't know, like a Twitch extension or some kind of custom thing. But I don't know, like, it's just, I can see some things that would work with this. Yeah, I could see where this could be useful. So very cool. Hopefully there won't be too many bugs and too many system breaking things, because unfortunately the downside to things is that the more things that you add, the more complicated it gets and the more prone there is for problems and stuff. Okay, we've got two more articles. I want to save the last one. There was the one about the car. I wanted to save that one for last. We'll go ahead and move on to the last one. Actually, I meant to put this in with the game news stuff, but whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
So this one, I believe, is Cappy's article about microtransactions. EA. Oh yeah. It should be interesting when EA announces its games, how many more things are gonna have microtransactions. Yikes.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So this comes from Forbes.com. Cappy, please take it away.
So pretty much, Josh Hawley, the Republican freshman senator from Missouri, proposed a bill regulating loot boxes. This article was published on May 8th, 2019. Pretty much, this proposed bill is mostly an outline right now, but it aims to apply consumer protections to video games using loot boxes, pay-to-win mechanics, other monetization methods deemed manipulative.
Huh.
So pretty much those who are not gamers but are actually tech-savvy people who listen to this, loot boxes are microtransactions offering randomized or partially randomize rewards to players.
Yep.
Pay-to-win manipulation of a game's progression system, typically by building artificial difficulty or other barriers into game progression to induce players to spend money on microtransactions to advance through content supposedly available to them at no additional cost.
Yep.
So pretty much what they're trying to do is they're trying to block these two concepts.
Or at least regulate them, I would assume, right?
Yeah, at least regulate them. However, the ESA, Entertainment Software Association, which also operates the Electronic Software Rating Board, ESRB, that works with retailers and publishers to assign age ratings to games, stated, and I quote, numerous countries, including Ireland, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK, determined that loot boxes do not constitute gambling. We look forward to sharing with the Senator the tools and the information the industry already provides that keeps control of in-game spending in their parents' hands. Parents already have the ability to limit or prohibit in-game purchases with easy-to-use parental controls.
Now, let me jump in here really quick. I believe that this particular act that is going, actually, ironically, it does mention in here, this particular, okay, first of all, the loot boxes in general and pay-to-win services have been a big part of the gaming industry literally for years. And it's kind of funny we should talk about this because I was going to have a DJ Wee who works at Twitch and has his own channel and does his own show, was talking to, I think it was Slasher and somebody else about in-game purchases. And DJ Wee made the quote of the fact that, he's like, well, technically speaking, pay to win and microtransactions have been a part of gaming industry even before games on PC existed, because you would have to, insert a coin to play a particular, arcade game. But see, my problem with that statement is that, and my counter argument to that statement is the fact that at least you know what you're getting. Like, it's not the same thing as like it's randomized. Like if I go to play an arcade game and if I lose that arcade game or whatever, I haven't really I'm not getting ripped off and it's not giving me an advantage. I'm just putting a quarter in to play an arcade game. To me, that's a really bad comparison of microtransactions. In this particular instance here, I see it as wrong, with an example being Star Wars Battlefront 2 for a short time. There was some in-game advantages of getting certain heroes or whatever to play against people online, which gave you the upper hand. So you were paying to get better characters, advantages, whatever, to have an advantage in the game. It could basically giving you an unfair advantage compared to everybody else. That's what I think an actual microtransaction is. The bit with the quarter in the arcade thing is not really a microtransaction. You're just dropping money in to play a particular game that you're not taking home. I don't know how that really is a good comparison though.
But the concept is still there, because you're pretty much paying a quarter to play a video game. That's really what microtransactions are, is that you get something in return for money.
Yeah, but it's usually cosmetic stuff, not advantages, like at the time that Star Wars BF2 did. Unfortunately, there's a lot of free-to-play games that do have that pay-to-win aspect, which targets those younger children. And I'm actually in support of this bill, to an extent. Like, if they can figure out a way where they can specifically target like pay-to-win mechanics, or if they just sell microtransactions for like cosmetics, like Overwatch. Yeah, I mean, like for example, the only time I've done maybe microtransactions was like maybe in Rocket League, but it was only for cosmetic. It gave me no upper hand in the game except to look cool. And And even in Rocket League's loot box system, even I don't like it, because honestly, what I really hate is the fact that like you can spend to get what's called keys, and those keys are, you buy the keys, you get in-game keys to unlock loot crates that have a cosmetic thing that is, you have no idea what you're going to be getting out of the keys. So it's kind of, it is kind of like a little bit like one of those like slot machine things, which I kind of hate. Actually, that's one of the things I don't like about Rocket League. I wish I could just get the skin that I specifically want and just pay for it like once and not have to keep RNGing. Like the RNG, like random, for those who don't know, random number generator is what RNG stands for. But the RNG like mechanic is what's annoying to me. Like I'm very picky about my money. Like I'm very much a shark about it. And I want to get, like, if I want to get like the Dissolver skin in Rocket League, I want to be able to just buy the Dissolver skin and just be done with it. I don't want to have to keep like guessing like, oh, I hope I get it. Oh, I hope I get it. Oh, chat, cross your fingers. Like, I don't like that. I think that's dumb. And I
agree with that. Like, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead. It's fine. Jump in. It's fine. It's how the show works. It's okay.
What I like about Magic the Gathering Arena, I play Magic the Gathering online, is that they specifically state that every 4 booster packs that you open, you're guaranteed a rare and a mythic rare wild card.
Okay.
Pretty much mythic rare wild cards allow you to craft in that game, something similar to Hearthstone, where you use like dust to convert that dust into cards. But they don't allow you to like destroy multiple duplicate cards that you have.
Okay.
So I think that they can get around with this. Like if they say like, oh, every 4 boxes or every X box that you open guarantees a certain rarity, like ultra rare item or
I could
something else.
I could see it where if you had, say, like a certain combination of stuff, and this is just for any game, I'm not talking about like Rocket League, this goes for Rocket League and other games, I would not mind loot boxes if I could be allowed to take a certain combination of stuff. So using Rocket League again as an example, because that's the closest thing I have at the moment, or even Overwatch for example. Imagine taking like a certain rare voice line with a certain skin, and it's kind of like, if you can imagine, in Legend of Zelda, there's food crafting, and you take a certain amount of food crafting, and it creates a certain type of food that allows Link to recover his health. In this particular case, it would be a certain combination of cosmetics. You can, and it shows you what the order is. You could take those combinations and craft a particular skin that you actually want. So you know what you're getting. You may not know what you're getting out of the loot box, but you know that no matter what you get, you can always craft something different that's like a rare item based on the basic cosmetics that you get. Like, that's where I wouldn't mind having a loot box, because at least I know that if I don't like what I get, I can just craft something together and trade it in and get, something better. Or if I could, like sell and that's the other thing too about Rocket League, about in-game stuff. Unlike other games such as CS:GO, you can't like sell your items on the Steam marketplace, which I really wish Psyonix would please allow. Because it would really, like, I could actually finally get what I actually want, rather than just constantly, I don't like the randomness of it. It's really, really annoying. And, in regards to the bit about parents controlling kids' spending, kids are smart nowadays. They're not stupid. They know how to get a hold of stuff. I mean, the parent could.
I agree with that.
I mean, the parent could be out shopping, and the kid could happen to know where the parent's credit card information is, and they could spend, for hours and hours while the parent's out shopping, and then put the credit card back before the parent gets home. Like, you cannot. This comes back, and oh my gosh, this goes into a larger rant. I'm so sorry. This comes back to the lack of really good parenting in our culture, but that's another rant for another time.
I agree.
And I don't like the idea of government regulation, Because the problem is anytime the government gets its hands in something, they always screw it up. Like, quite frankly, they do. And so I'm really concerned about the fact that if we have another bill that's in the gaming industry, how much of a sour note is it going to drop in gamers' mouths and in their gameplay? Because there's now a regulation on the ESRB and now on the ESA about loot boxes. Companies in general need to just really reconsider just cognitively on their own without government intervention. Need to rethink how and why they have loot boxes. And I've heard the argument too that, like, you know, loot boxes, they keep the funding up for the game because it's money back into the game developers' pockets to keep developing that game or developing new games. Game companies don't need that. That's what advertising's for. That's what, like, you know, partnerships with other companies for. That's what acquiring studios is for. They don't need microtransactions to keep the company running. Like, if anything, that's like a really small monetary gain that they could gain that same monetary gain in other ways if they spent their money smarter.
I'm actually going to play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
I'm actually for loot boxes. One, $60 doesn't cover the development costs alone, and $60 is a good. That's
a good chunk of money.
Yeah, it's a good selling point for most games. Not only that, when a gamer is done, like, especially if you own like a console like the PS4 or Xbox One, you can go and trade that in for a new game. That's money out of the developer's pocket. That's from that secondhand market.
Yeah.
So they have to figure out how they're going to keep funding up.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people go out and buy used games.
Yeah.
So I feel like the used market is one of the reasons why we have microtransactions, is because not many people go out and buy new games. They actually go out and buy used games and other things like that.
But digital content, you can't get digitally content, like, you can't get digitally used games. Like, that's not a thing, obviously.
No, you can't. But
unless I'm sorry, I know what you're saying. You're talking about console. People buy console games from, like, GameStop. Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, my brain broke for a sec. I'm sorry. Continue.
And that's actually where the huge chunk of money is at for developers, is the console market. It's not actually the PC or anything like that.
Right.
PC gaming is the reason why we don't have, like, AAA exclusives and other things like that, is that developers know that's not a good place to have console exclusives. Because one, you can pirate and other things like that. People can easily backdoor your game and distribute it for free.
Yeah, that's true.
I just want to say I'm not encouraging pirating.
No, we're not. We don't encourage pirating or backdoor stuff. No, of course not.
Yeah. I'm saying this as, like, looking from a developer's perspective.
Yes.
And unfortunately, the reason why they have microtransactions is because of the secondhand market. That's the reason why. Is because GameStop marks it up at a higher price for a used game, and then sells it back for a profit.
Yes.
Whereas game developers, they just break even on just the physical medium.
Yep, they do, probably. Yeah.
And so they have to figure out how they're going to keep paying those developers and other things like that. And that's how microtransactions came about.
It's a really tricky market, being a game developer, I'm sure. Like, I can't imagine the technicalities that have to go into it, because, you know, you look at, I'm just gonna name one off the top of my head here. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I'm sure was a really big, that was a big AAA title game, large staff, a lot of assets in the game, you know, music composing, texture rendering, character model design, voice acting. I mean, it's a very cool industry, but it's also a very large industry, and it's also that's a very large development of a game. But and even the $60 price as it is, I was watching a video from, I know we're going a little bit into overtime, but I think this is a really good discussion at the moment, so I'm actually kind of enjoying this. And hopefully you guys are too who are listening. I was watching a video that was talking about the $60 mark for video games. Okay, so if you can imagine with me like a bar and there's a line. Okay, it's like the line is like here and we're here. I know it's kind of hard for Cappy to see, but like, you know, we're here, we're somewhere between these 2 points here, where you have the $60 AAA title price here, the microtransactions here, and at some point we're going to end up moving past that $60 point where games are getting more and more expensive and the microtransactions are getting more and more expensive, and then people are going to get like, I don't know if there's such a thing as microtransaction addiction, but like, and also too, like, you can't blame it's not really the game developers' fault, honestly. Actually, I think it's just people's compulsiveness. People have no self-control nowadays. Like, quite frankly, they don't. And because of that, you know, you end up with people who have gambling addictions. You know, the RNG really gets them, which really comes back to, personally, when you look at it, it's actually just a moral life. Something in life is missing. They find it in video games, find it in microtransactions, find it in gambling. And so you end up having this problem. So you're regulating something that is actually a human issue. It is not the industry's issue. It is not the company's issue. It is not government issue. It is a human issue down in someone's heart that needs to be dealt with. And until we deal with the hard issue that is making somebody want to spend for microtransactions, or even for, video game. I'm not knocking video games. I do love video games, so I'm not knocking that. But some people find their life in nothing but video games, you know.
No, so I agree with that too.
You know, so I'm go ahead.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
This also applies to real life aspects too, because like we were talking before we started doing this podcast or the show. We were talking about what we're going to bring for a local gaming convention, or a gaming convention that Grid and I are going to.
Yeah.
We were talking about Magic the Gathering. There's a digital version, Magic the Gathering Arena, Magic the Gathering Online, and Magic the Gathering physical copies.
Yeah.
There's actually a nickname for Magic the Gathering cards called Cardboard Crack.
Oh, gosh.
The reason why is that people who open these packs are addicted to opening them.
Wow.
And it's a lack of self-control, personally.
Basically, yeah.
And whereas, yes, I do have a large collection, but I mostly sell them for profit and other things like that. I'm a collector myself. I collect trading card games. I collect rare and expensive cards to sell them later down the line.
I guess it's kind of like saying that I have some really rare Sonic trading cards, actually. Like, I actually do have trading cards over here in a little book. Actually, it's not a little book. I've got quite a few, actually. Like, I have Lord of the Rings trading cards that you can't get anymore. I have Sonic trading cards that you can't get anymore. I have quite a few. I haven't been through that book in a long time, actually. But, like, I've got some Sonic trading cards that are what's known as like foil cards, and they're really rare cards. Like the fact that you get how you even get them in general out of the packs, and what you get is super rare. You know, but like, yeah, I could see if you're doing it for revenue or something. That's, you know, I don't know. It's such a shaky subject because there's so many pros and cons to it. I understand, you know, on the one hand, I get the company has to make back their profit. On the other hand, I think is ridiculous because you can't buy what you actually want. And it's like this irritating, you know, seesaw, you know, imbalance between getting what you want and having the company make back what they. And the other thing is too, like, okay, I know we need to wind down the show. I have one other thing here.
It's all good, Grid. I I actually enjoy doing this stuff. So
no, I do too. And it's what makes the show so great, obviously. But I find it, I think that if companies maybe, if they did their advertising in such a way where it didn't cost them so much, like I'm not trying to say I want you to skimp on your game to save money. I want you to produce a fully featured game. I will play that. But if you're going to do it, be careful how you spend your money. Spend it smart so that you don't feel like you have to drop microtransactions. I feel like in a way, microtransactions are almost like the company indirectly saying, we mismanaged our money. We now have to make it back in these microtransactions and stuff. Like, and mobile gaming especially is riddled with microtransactions, like the ads and then the things you can buy. Like, the mobile gaming is a mess, in my opinion. I'm not a mobile gamer, but I know that it's a mess.
No, I do play mobile games once in a while when I'm out and about and like traveling with family or friends. And the mobile gaming industry is the worst culprits of this.
Yes,
they are the worst culprits of it. And I just feel like something needs to be done. Rather, if it falls into the ESRB hands.
It should really be the ESRB, not the government, in my opinion. Like, I
agree with you. I agree that the government shouldn't do it, but
no.
Unfortunately, we're in a world where the government is expected to
do things. Yeah. And I think that's another subject for another day, obviously. But no, I think it's ridiculous. I think ESRB should just do their jobs and should just say, look, you can have X amount of this.
This is their job.
No, I know, but like, to run to the government to make legislation, to ask them to ask somebody to do that, a senator of all people who does not understand the gaming industry at all. That's the thing. These are senators. These are politicians. They know literally nothing about the gaming industry. All they know is how to keep their seats warm. So
this is just another topic for discussion.
Yeah, absolutely, later, so. Absolutely. No. But I'm going to end on that and stuff. Yeah. So we're going to good discussion. We're going to head and end off in a cool story. If you like classic cars, Cappy, aren't you a classic car guy? I thought you were kind of into.
Oh yeah. I'm into classic cars, and I'm actually looking at this article. And,
yeah. Okay, so do you want to
strolling over this car?
Do you want to read it?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead and read it. Sure. So this comes from foxnews.com, so go ahead and start.
A car left in a garage 31 years by pilot who helped bomb Hitler's Eagle's Nest sold for a small fortune.
A small fortune. Continue.
So this very old 1963 Bentley 4.5-liter Vanden Palace Tourer was found in a garage sitting for 31 years.
That looks really nice, honestly, even for as old as it is.
It has been sold this week. Well, actually, this was published in March, but still, this is actually really cool. I absolutely love this article. For $600,000.
Oof! Wow.
The history behind this is that when retired Royal Air Force navigator and pilot Charles Blackham purchased it from its original owner in 1952 for 260 pounds, fixed it up and turned it into his daily driver.
Let's go see if I can figure out how much pounds is in US. Go ahead and keep...
Blackham had been a member of the bomber squadron that targeted the area around Hitler's Eagle's Nest retreat in April 1945, and he later made food drops in Europe after the fall of the Nazi regime. He used his Bentley until 1988, when it became too much trouble to keep it running, and parked it in a garage at his home near Manchester, where it sat rotting away until his death in January at age 96.
So this might be a little bit slightly off, because I'm not sure, because, we obviously didn't have inflation back then. But roughly speaking, maybe maybe if anybody from who's from England hears this show, whatever, roughly speaking, it's about $337.89. However, currency hadn't inflated as much as it is, so I'll probably bet it was probably a little bit less than that. But go on and read the story.
It was actually unearthed by his estate and put up for auction at the H&H Classic event held in the Imperial War Museum in Duxford.
Nice.
Auctioneers originally estimated the car would sell for no more than $250,000, but the bidders had different ideas. A lot of people are saying that it'll take a six-figure sum to get it back into shape, but that 18 months down the line could have something very special.
Oh, yeah.
So a little bit of history behind this car. Not many cars of this kind exist.
Oh, no, yeah.
And it's just like one of six like it made, and the only one with its original body.
Oof, wow.
So pretty much the problem with these type of cars is that they are very susceptible to rusting, and they had to rebuild them.
Yeah.
And pretty much what happens is that it doesn't have its original body anymore.
Got you. Okay.
And what the $600,000 may have been more of a tribute to the owner than the car.
Probably.
I actually have family members on both sides of my family who served in World War II. My mom's side, my great-grandfather actually was a prisoner of war in Auschwitz.
Yeah, one of my family members on my mom's side was also a prisoner of war during that time as well. Yeah. But anyway, go on. Yeah.
And my dad's side actually helped liberate Auschwitz.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
So it's kind of interesting to... I always wonder if they actually met in person before they actually knew we were going to be family members or something to that nature.
I don't know. That'd be very interesting to look into. So I did a little bit more poking around, and again, this is I'm going to say this is a very rough estimate. What was a pound worth in the 1930s? The pound experienced an average inflation rate of 4.86% per year during this period. In other words, 100 pounds in 1930 is equivalent to in purchasing power to 6,213 pounds in, I guess, I'm not sure how the pen, I guess it's 29 pence, I suppose. In 2007, a difference of 6,113 pounds over 87 years ago. So roughly speaking, he probably paid quite a bit more for this car than what I originally had given the estimate of. But still, it was probably for a rather substantial amount of money. But it looks absolutely like, I mean, I'm not really an old car person, but the fact that the lights look like they're intact, even the wheels don't look too bad. The front grille could definitely use some cleaning up and restoration for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
The seats definitely took a really huge beating, but you still got the steering column, the steering wheel, the front glass. Like it's in superb condition, honestly, I think.
You pretty much have capabilities of fully restoration of that car.
I wonder what the condition of the engine was like.
If all the parts are there, you can easily rebuild the engine. You can easily rebuild the gauges, rewire it, the whole 9 yards. It's definitely very viable.
Wow. That is very, very cool. And yeah, if I were the owner, I'd be very excited to have that, and I would definitely go to work on and getting it restored and everything. But that is so cool.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's definitely a feel-good article, and I just want to say whoever bid that up to $60,000, thank you so much.
$600,000, but yes.
Yeah, sorry, $600,000. That's pretty awesome that that group did that just for the tribute to the veteran.
Yeah, the veteran. Yeah, that is actually be really fun. As if they could find what's left of the family members that was related to this veteran and have them, kind of like kind of give them back the car in a way, or donate to a museum, and that the former family can actually look, come and see the car that that Black Ham drove. Like that would be it would just be a nice like full circle type of thing, honestly. But that is very cool. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that brings us to the end of our show. Let me go ahead and try to. I haven't done the outro in a very long time. But thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. We'll be back on. Let me see. Hopefully if scheduling works out. Theoretically, we'll be back May 25th for another episode. If Cappy's schedule is still scheduling of the show will be kind of spotty because I don't know what Cappy's work schedule is like and stuff. So we'll let you guys know either via Twitter or on my Discord server and what have you. But thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you, Cappy, for being your first episode. And you did really, really well. I'm very pleased that you're now part of the TMM family and stuff. So thank you for filling that spot.
I am too. I'm absolutely excited to be part of this stuff.
So, but thank you guys, and we're gonna go ahead and roll the outro. And for those of you that are wondering, I'll be streaming later tonight on my personal channel, which is twitch.tv/grid21. I'll be streaming around 6 p.m. or so. And till then, we'll see you guys soon, and have an awesome rest of your Saturday, and even better Monday. I'll catch you guys later.
Goodbye now. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Oh, where's the? Thank you for listening to the Morning Metro. All stories and articles belong to the respected companies. Songs used for broadcast. Intro music, Retro Funky by Persephone. Remix by Sundance. Outro music, 305 by Approach Nirvana. All music belongs to their respected copyright holders. For article submissions, questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at themorningmetro@gmail.com.